Version 7 of BusyWorks Beats AI Mastering is officially here. Now this is louder, brighter, and cleaner. So what we're going to do is run this on different tracks here. And instead of me trying to convince you guys, I just want you guys to just hear it. Okay. So the way this works, in short, for those who don't know what this plugin is, if you guys go to busyworksbeats.com/AI, you'll find this page. You can actually use the code AI during the checkout for 50% off for Memorial Day till the end of the month. Okay. So we're celebrating version 7 now. And version 7, basically how it works is you want to highlight the loudest portion of your song. So let me highlight somewhere around here. And it works similar to iZotope's Mastering Assistant, but we've created this to where you have more control. And in my opinion, it just sounds better off the bat. So we're going to click here. There's a little drop down. My favorite is the bright master mode. And we're going to hit play. And all you guys got to do is hit AI Master. We've included a new stage in the audio to where it will automatically gain stage for you guys, so that you guys who may not be into everything about mastering and mixing, you guys will get the perfect level going into the plugin. Very important to get the maximum results is to gain stage. So here's before. And here's after. Now you guys can push it louder by unlinking the input and output and just turn up your output. So if you want more quick volume, you could do that pushing into the limiters. The new things we've added is a new converter. Okay, so you guys, basically I was trying to figure out ways to add that little increment of loudness, and the converter does just that. And then we added an RMS based glue compressor that looks at the average of the movement of the audio and compresses rather than just audio peaks. I've added a new mid-side EQ under the EQ tab as well, with different ratios of tilting if you guys are interested in those sound design things. So the main thing about this plugin is you don't need to know a ton about anything. You just turn the knobs on the front panel, and if you want to go deeper with it, you can. It's not built for people who just want to do expert things all the time. But if you want to be an expert at it, you can. We've even added a new reference. So for example, we can make this go through Bluetooth speaker environment. We can emulate wired headphones. We can even do streaming websites that turn the music down, so now you guys can hear what the music would sound like on those platforms once the LUFS targets, are turned down. All right, so that's, just utility type stuff. But this is a plugin built for people who don't know anything about music, but also people who want to twist knobs and get way deeper with it. So that's why I try to make it like all encompassing. Okay. So now let's do it before. Here's before. And I redid a lot of the logic behind the scenes. So when you guys turn these knobs, it's just a deeper logic. Here's on. And you can also link the input and output. So let's say there's too much compression. You can hit the link mode and just turn down the input so that it doesn't hit the compressor as hard. And you can do the opposite. Okay, so that affects how the compressor works, basically. Here's before. Here's after. All right, now let's try a different song. So now that you guys kind of understand the gist of how it works, I'm just going to show you guys stuff instead of explaining every single knob. Really, the best way to use this truly is that the front panel should be where you start. If you have to go into the back portion of this plugin, it means something is very specific. I built this to where you guys don't need to tweak a lot. All right, so now let's hit AI Master. It's going to listen to the song. We also have an auto clean mode for those who have like sibilant songs. You can mess with the clean knob as well. Now these mixes are pretty good where we don't need the clean knob, but you guys can use this as well. All right, it's night and day difference. Here's before. And let's let's say you guys want more movement, you could turn up the dynamics. If you want more bass, crank up the bass. If you want it louder, turn it louder. So there's always more room to do stuff. If you want your image wider, you guys can mess with the wide knob. We've even added in the master, or excuse me, in the excite area, a new color mode. So for those who are more advanced, let's say you just need that extra weight at the bottom of your song, you can, I keep my frequency at 20, but I recommend 20 through 90, somewhere around there, and just turn up the drive a little bit and turn up the amount. It will add this super sub frequency underneath the track. I'll exaggerate so you guys can hear. See how it just fills out the bottom end of the song? Here's before. And it just makes such a full image. Okay, so there's many ways you guys can use this. I just set it up to where the majority of people could just hit AI master and it comes out with a clean, loud, brighter master. But if you guys want to tweak little things here and there, you guys can, like I said. All right, so let's do before. Here's before. We're gonna hit the AI master. It takes a little bit longer now because we have the gain stage logic in here. So it takes a little bit of time because the plugin has to adjust to the incoming input first before it does anything. So now it's doing its whole logic chain of what it needs to change, whether it's width, brightness, bass. Okay. Here's before. It just adds that professional polish to any track. Here's after. For this track, let's add a little bit more sub. Now the kick, when it hits, is a boom. It just has a longer tail. We can always make it brighter with the bright knob as well. So there's always ways to tweak it to where you guys find your perfect setting, and then you guys can save the preset. So let's say you think that's a great preset, you can save it, or you guys can run through presets if you find those more reliable. Okay, so the AI master is more catered to the specific song. The presets are more by song. Like it's like a snapshot versus a movie. AI master would be more of a movie, whereas the presets are more like a snapshot or a camera still. All right, now let's go to this next track. So we have a lot of tracks to go through, guys. I'm not going to talk as much. We're just going to do before and after. So here's before. It's hit AI master. Now this one we have a little more headroom. Still analyzing. We're waiting. There we go.
Baby, ain't another one like me. I pull up with 300 and
again, here's before. Listen how big this plugin makes it sound.
I'm a rock star, baby, ain't another one like me.
So the more headroom you give the plugin, the better it tends to perform here.
Baby, ain't another one like me.
Let's crank up 20 hertz.
I pull up with 300 and I stretch out your whites. Don't rock star, baby, keep jumping beside me. I'm a rock.
Now the kick is like super heavy.
Baby, ain't another one like me. I pull up with 300 and I stretch out.
Here's before.
Don't rock star, baby, keep jumping beside me. I'm a rock star, baby, ain't another one like me.
If you guys want more energy, I'll say, turn up the turbo knob, okay? So in short, the clean knob cleans up the signal. The bass knob adds bass, just like it says, and it helps the bass stay cohesive. Then we have the loud knob. It does what it says, okay? Then the turbo mode is like loudness on steroids, and the mid focus is specifically for that middle range where, you know, the Fletcher-Munson curve gets kind of aggressive, so you guys can mess with that. And then the wide knob is to, again, widen out your track. Dynamics is for the ups and downness of your track.
Baby,
so let's turn up the turbo knob just to see what it does on this track.
Baby, ain't another one like me. I pull up with 300 and I stretch out your whites. Don't rock star, baby, keep jumping.
I'm just gonna turn it on and off so you guys can hear.
Baby, ain't another one like me.
It just adds that you know, that dimension, that fullness to the front and back of the mix.
Baby, ain't another one like me. I pull up with 300 and I stretch out your
All right, now let's do a different song.
Rockstar, baby, kick.
Now some of these are already mastered and mixed, and it just shows you can slap this thing on pretty much anything and it will help correct it. So I'm pretty sure we mixed this song in the session. This is just a freestyle we did on our live stream. Let's hit AI Master.
Right now, should have been harder, hit a pipe down. Gotta run a hit him hard, right down. Put the runner, hit a pipe down. Should have been a down chain. But the brand could have went and bought a new chain.
So right now it's leveling.
Down off the roof thing. Bought down on the ground, the loose thing.
See how it just opened it up? It gave it so much dimension. It feels like it's just. So here's before.
On the running here right now. Should have been on the running here right now. Should have been harder, hit a pipe down.
Here's before.
Hit him hard, right there.
After.
Put the runner, hit a pipe down. Should have been a down chain. But the brand could have went and bought a new chain. Just getting right now off the Hussein, kind of down off the roof thing. Bought down on the ground, the loose thing. Right, I'm the realest of the loose thing. Fuck is you saying? I'm in the. I be riding high, couldn't even bend. $250,000 of red, couldn't even spend. We was riding in the bin, hella getting bent. 40 on the laser, get his in, just in case it ran. I been riding through the city in the Lamb King. Roots running
Alright, so that was just, we were freestyling during the live stream. Alright, here's after. Here's before. Here's after. It just has a whole nother dimension. So that's what I focused on with this. Now let's go back to this other track here. Like I said, guys, you guys can save presets so you don't have to keep tweaking anything or waiting for the button even. So I've literally solved one-click mastering. Let's click AI Master and wait for it to read this. All right, so I turned it down about 4 dB. Because again, headroom is very important for this plugin to give it the best results. And we can even crank this a little bit higher. Again, it's all based on what you guys want from these, you know, this point on, which knobs you guys playing on. And again, the clean knob, this track doesn't need it, but see how we made the clean knob a little bit more subtle, whereas before it was a little more aggressive. So we pulled back the clean knob to where it targets only things that really are annoying about a mix. This is not the solve all button. I just want to be careful how I explain this clean knob, because I don't want you guys thinking this just is going to clean up a terrible recording. This is not that. It just takes care of the things that make mastering worse. Okay, so basically that's, in short, that's what it does. So rarely do I touch this, only if something is a little too sibilant or too harsh in the high end. But we do have an auto clean button. So if you guys click this, similar to our AI Master button, it will listen to the track and then adjust the clean settings for you guys down here. All right, so now it's less harsh. So to explain everything about this plugin, it will literally take 7 videos. This plugin is too dense to explain everything, guys. But the clean area focuses on things that are bad about a mix, and it fixes them. So that's the short answer. When you see single and dual, put it on dual mode for more of aggressive taming. Single mode is only single band, so it's not going to give us a more like a widespread adjusting. Okay. So here's before. Here's after. And because we took care of those harsh things, we can now crank it higher. Okay, so that's a benefit of using the clean knob if you have to. So here's before. So, you know, this plugin is built to not only just give you loudness, but it gives you a texture, it gives you brightness, cleanliness, clarity, and it makes stuff loud. That's what we focused on in version 7, is to make stuff loud, okay, and brighter. So let's hit the button on this one. So we have a lot of tracks to go through, guys, so I don't know if we're gonna make it through every single one, but we might as well try. And then we'll do one where we just turn the knobs up and go by ear instead of waiting for the AI master mode. But it does more than just turn these knobs up. So here's before. Here's after. Here's before. Here's after. So see how it just widens out tracks. Again, this plugin is it sounds very good on sounds that have a lot of dynamic range. So here's before. Now this track, I'm pretty sure we mixed this and mastered it inside of Logic. So we're gonna add this on an already mastered track here and see how it handles this. Just to show you guys, I really made sure that this plugin is adding and not just subtracting from quality. So right now it's buying 4 dB of headroom, or 3.6 dB technically. I'm going to pull back on the width on this one. Maybe some of the bass. Gotta wait for that 808 to kick in. Alright, here's before. I'm going to dial this one back only because it can get loud, but I don't want it to be super loud. Especially for this mix here where it's already mastered. So this is adding that fullness on the side for this specific beat. Here's before, where it's kind of just very centered. And now the sides can live with the mix. So it shows that even with mixed and mastered stuff, this thing can fit on top. So let's see what else we got. It's another probably mix and master track. Now I'm gonna do this just with the knobs so we could dial it in pretty quick. Just like that, we dialed in a tone. Here's before. Before. Let's add a little sub in here under the Excite tool. It's for the extra little punch in the kick. Here's before. Here's after. It just sounds more sturdy. Here's before. Sounds kind of hollow. Here's after. So if we can take already mixed songs and make them better, then I think we've made room for this tool. Here's a champagne poetry type beat. So let's just do the knobs manually here. Now also, when you guys do the knobs, I'd recommend, if you don't know how to gain stage, just click AI Master, have it gain stage for you guys. And if you don't like the knobs, just turn the knobs down and then turn them back up, because what it will do is set the right input volume. If you don't know what that means, just hit AI Master and it will do it for you. So let's gain stage down a little bit, give it a little room to work. It's a very minimalistic beat, so we need it to sound kind of full. It's got a little brightness. It's a very dark mix. push into the converter. Let's turn that up. Here's before. So right now I'm just dealing with the converter. For this mix, the converter all the way up is too aggressive for the mix, so I'm just dialing it in. Again, if you don't know what this is, guys, you guys can literally hit AI Master. It will do the logic for you guys. Here's before. That one's a little more subtle because there's not much going on in the beat. All right, let's do a Snoop Dogg one with the same settings. Here's before. I didn't even change the settings. Here's after. So that's why I said you guys can save this stuff as presets so that you don't have to keep changing stuff. And with good mastering stuff, you shouldn't even have to change much of anything. So right now it's setting the logic. Here's before. Here's after. All right, now let's move to a Dilla style beat. Now this beat is already mixed from what I remember, so we want to be really subtle here, but let's just see what the plugin does by itself before we go in and tweak anything. Not much headroom on this beat. Let's just dial back the input a little bit. So here's before. So the way I used it on this song, it's almost like before you use it, it just sounds like you're listening to the song. And sounds are just kind of falling down. But when you turn this plugin on, it's like you walk into the beat. That's how it feels. You guys can also mess with the dynamics. Here's before. Here's after. Again, the easiest way I can explain the difference here is like we're hearing the song first, and then we step into the song when we turn this on. All right, so that was an already mixed song from what I remember. Now this one we have a lot of headroom and dynamics, so this one should. Again, we want to hit the AI master mode during the loudest portion of the song. That way it gets the leveling right. this one I want to add a little more sub in here. That a little more brightness. I forgot to add a sub in here. Let's pull back the sub. Forgot that was the sub bass. Here's before. And again, if we want to push the song louder, we can turn up the output. Now, I wouldn't turn it this loud, but I'm just saying. So here's before. All right, so showing you guys different stuff. Now here's a Kanye style track. Actually, let's skip that one, only because of YouTube. All right, let's do a more rage style track here, more modern mix. So this has a lot of smeary stereo elements. I'm curious how this will handle it.
Money stacking all up to the roof. Quarterback and blaze up in the booth. Time to tell around with this dude.
Here's before.
Feeling like a nigga gon' recoup. Hop up out the years in this blue. Lamborghini drop the top. Riding with your team. Killers on the side like they Kareem. Dunking on these nigga with the cream.
And there's so many more things we could add, like analog distortions. If you guys want more like density, I'll say. So here's before. Here's after. Now we're getting that full analog rich sound. All right, so like I said, depending on the mix, you guys can adjust this however you like. All right, so here's like a rock style.
Yeah, we all back to the unanswered questions in my head, looking for the real smoke.
Now the mix is already kind of flat.
Get it started, they don't want no problems. It's just too late to apologize.
So this actually became almost too loud. Not too loud, but like loud.
Yeah, we all back to the unanswered questions in my head, looking for the real smoke. They don't want no problems. Only get it started. They don't want no problems. It's just too late to apologize. It's just too late to apologize. It's just too late to apologize. Yeah, it's too late. Yeah, we all back to the unanswered questions in my head, looking for.
So this one I'm distorting it a little bit.
Yeah, we all back to the unanswered questions in my head, looking for the real smoke. They don't want no problems. Only get it started. They don't want no problems. It's just too late to apologize. It's just too late to apologize.
So the mix is kind of flat. So all we're really hearing there is a tonal adjustment and a loudness
Keep
adjustment.
bugging on the low.
So mixes are important. You guys just can't throw in a rock and expect a diamond to come out. It has to be, you know, a good recording. So let's add it here.
You keep
See how many more we have. I might kind of jump around because we have a lot of tracks here.
But everybody know for sure it's about that. You keep.
So I'm gonna have to jump around to a couple more.
You keep bagging on the low. You keep stacking on the low. That's why I keep this dope for sure. You already know.
All right, let's hit the AI master.
Keep robbing on the low. You keep thugging on the low. You keep.
So this is a smoother mix. I just expected to get wider and just louder.
Showing me, no, I said you keep rhyming on the low. You keep grinding on the low. You keep thugging on the low. It's just another day for show in the life of a man.
So here's before. And again, we have other tools we can use, like for example, analog distortions. For tracks like this where it's more open, we can add the converter, grit and jitter for more styles here. We can even mess with the glue compressor. We're gonna put this on mid mode as well for a genre like this. It's a little more dynamic. So here's before.
You keep banging on the low. You keep thugging on the low. But everybody know for sure it's about that. You keep bagging on the low. You keep bagging on the low. You keep stacking on the low. That's why I keep this dope for sure. You already know. You keep.
So it kept the dynamics intact. So what we're gonna do is probably use more dynamic references. This one's very loud. I'm pretty sure we mixed that one during the live stream. So let me jump around, guys, and see which track. Some of these are already mixed, so I'm trying to use stuff that's not mixed. Here's a very dynamic track. I found the dynamic tracks you guys can hear everything this plugin has to offer. So let's hit AI Master. And let's see to calculate the headroom. So I turned it down 3 dB. This one's a little loud. So I probably should have waited till it got louder. My dumb self forgot there's a hook on this. So let's rerun this only because I ran it during the wrong part. So we're still getting the same headroom. Gonna dial it back just a little bit. I'm gonna do during this portion because this track, now that I remember that session, we mixed it, so we're just mixing over mixed stuff, and I didn't mix the vocals right on the initial. What we're gonna do is listen to the beat portion. Here's before. Has that density. Also, if you have vocals, I recommend you guys mess with the texture. Keep it at 0 depth and just turn the mix up. It rounds off, it almost silkifies the vocal if you guys have a lower male vocalist. And again, let's mess with the clean knob just to see if we can. Now we bought a little bit more headroom. Now I don't think it translates to the hook because the hook just gets loud. The bass is too loud. Yeah, the bass, I need to go back and mix that record. But here's before. Here's after. So here's before. After. And again, we can mess with the mid-side mode here. The glue compressor. Also, I meant to mention the saturation on this stage as well. Here's before. And again, it's like hearing a song versus being in the song. Here's before. Here's after. All right, now let's move to, I think this song has enough. This might be a smushed mix. Alright, let's hit the AI master. Let's let it do it level itself. I'll probably play one more track. So that was cool. And let's do maybe, I think we mixed and mastered that one. Let's do this one because I'm pretty sure we took the mixing off with this one. I can't remember all these mixes, but let's just run the AI master. So this one isn't as punchy, but we're just looking for a wider, clear mix. Maybe a little more bass. So here's before. Here's after. Let's dial it in just a little bit. A little more sub. Got a little more master distortion. And these drums are a little tricky because they're not super low endy. So here, let's do it before. Here's before. Here's after. Before. Just an energetic difference. Here's after. All right, guys. So we went through a lot of tracks. This video has to be an hour long probably. And I just wanted to show you guys the new BusyWorks Beats AI Mastering 7. Use the code AI during checkout to take off 50%. We're going to do this from Memorial Day weekend into the end of the month. Thank you guys for watching. It's Game from BusyWorksBeats.com. Peace out, guys.